Hey everyone, this is DayTraderRockStar, and this is the high probability watch list for the week of September 23rd, which will be a Monday. And I gotta tell you, what a month it's been. What a month it's been. You're taking a look at a chart on the screen, which has been a very great pattern. It's off of it's what I call a DayTrader Rockstar playbook play. It's a coiled stochastic channel breakout. And this was really the theme of the week. You know, last week's HPS watch list was just really great. We really concentrated over the last 2 weeks on real quality names: the Verizons, the AT&Ts, the Philip Morrises, the Altrias, the Googles, the Amazons, really Costco. Lots of great setups that came in the market, and we took them all, and we got we just had a great week. And again, like I always say, week after week, all I want to do is continue to bring those type of setups to you. I don't want to settle for anything less. I don't want to guess. I have a strict list of setups. It's about 7 to 8 stocks, plays. They're all listed in the forum for the members, and they're proven. They're proven as long as you have quality names. And it's just great to find those. So again, this week's watch list, it has to be based off of these, the high standards that I'm looking for on this watch list. There's going to be some shorts on this watch list too, and I have to put a little caution in, throw a cautionary comment out there that this market has been very strong, and strong markets and trending markets work best, when you're buying and you got the wind at your sails behind you. Shorts will be a little more difficult in this level, but I'm going to show you a couple short opportunities that are already playing out for us that we took shorts this week. This is really the first time I've actually looked at shorts in a few months now. We've taken sporadic shorts over the course of the year, but with this market rallying, we're concentrating on nice setups and taking that change off the table and waiting, having good patience. Everything's working. The teamwork in the community and the trading rooms have been fantastic. Everything. It's just a fantastic a month, and I got to thank all the members really for that and making the site what it could be. So, again, I'm just focused on this Google chart because this was a good example of that downward channel coil stochastic setup. And we actually had that trade, and you can see the results from that. And now, I'm going to show you examples of this because some of the best bets for next week are going to follow this criteria, and some of these are still setting up good. So, here's a great example of it. You have the coiled stochastic, which is a series of lower highs on the stochastic rotation. Normally you have a stochastic gets overbought to oversold, back up to overbought, back down to oversold, back to overbought. But in some cases, you'll start to see a pattern form, just like you start to see in a stock. And that's usually a trending stock that comes to a level, and then it gets we call this coiled up, where it just gets tighter and tighter. And then really that trend line becomes that breakout area. And that usually times, once you identify a channel that goes along with that, it's important to have that range, a channel range, up, down, and then it really explodes out of that, and you get the bigger move as you break out of the wedge, and that's how you trade this. So you always want to take that lower angle trade, that lower area closest to the lower channel line here when you get a coil stochastics. Same works for the opposite on the upside move. You have a coil stochastic to the upside, you want to grab that channel trade to the upside on a short, coming back down. So we're going to take a look at the other ones that have been setting up. Amazon, beautiful flag that Amazon set up in earlier this week. Again, you could see the big move here. And how do you predict that? Well, we did notice that we had some other trades that were very similar to the Amazon recently. But take a look at the coil stochastic here. Coil stochastic really outlined that flag. Here's your flag, but to really get the timing and everything else, this was identified as a really good flag. You're holding the 20 period moving average. Stochastics on the daily, they're hanging in there. They kind of might be rolling over, but they're up here high. So that's not really a good indicator until you start to break down through 80. But the truth in this was the recognizable pattern. You can start to see the gradual pullback, and then you break it down to the 60-minute chart. The next thing you know, this is jumping out at you. The coiled stochastic and the tightening of the trend line here. We had to do was wait for it to get down here understand that we had a very tight channel, and this is, these are your high probability areas, is when you get down to a lower area of a channel. This channel is tight. This channel is tight, so it makes sense that once it gets down towards that level and this is lined up, becomes your HPS zone, and this is where you always want to take that trade. And again, these trades have been lining up. We're in some of these trades right now. I mean, look at the move on fairway. Fairway, waiting on fairway, nice and patient. Got an entry, working out. Then to say, hey, you know what? We're coiled up. I want to add to it. We added to it. Then boom, off to the races. It continues to look good, even though we did come out of that coil. It was a tight channel here that we were able to recognize, and from that point on, this is still heading up, and I still love this stock. Still like it a lot. Discovery, we traded that this week. Why did we trade this? Coiled up stochastic, understood there was a nice little channel line. We have 3 pivot areas. We talk about how to recognize a channel. Most of my work is done based off a pattern I came up with. It's called a 1, 2, 3 pattern, representing 3 pivot areas in the market, and then two points always lead to a straight line. If you have a third point that represents a pullback from that trend line, that ends up being your other parallel line. All you have to do is draw that in as a parallel line, and then when a stock comes down to that level, you line it up. You wait for the stochastics and that trend line to line up, and any other indicators that might be setting up there, which includes support and resistance, and maybe even like a moving average. But this was, again, you could see the area, and we were on top of this one. We got a nice profit on that one. And we had a great, again, I'm going to go back on how great September is working out for us, and it's because of these setups, the HPS coil stochastics. I kind of refuse, again, like I said, this week's watch list has to be, just going to follow up with the same setups, the same setups I'm looking for. MSG. We're in this one. This is a textbook coiled stochastic setup, and it's moving up here. It's a 3-day, 4-day consolidation sideways. Whenever you see it, it's always best to grab it on the lower level. Now at this point, you're saying, well, here was a nice, beautiful bounce. It was a 200 period moving average. It was a 1, 2, 3 pattern. There was some other things that were looking really good, and the stochastic, but we got back up to this level, and it looks like there's a little space here. There's actually a chance of actually rotating back down here for one more pullback, and we might not even see that pullback. We're already seeing some consolidation here, so everything here looks great around this zone. We might get a little push higher, but there's a good shot we actually get a rotation back down, and we'll measure this off. I doubt we're going to take out the lows. We'll probably just consolidate a little. We'll get a little, and then off to the races as we break out and push back up here towards that 58 area. So MSG here still very good. Very set up really nice. Discovery. We talked about the Amazon, right? We did the Google. We did a lot of other ones are all setting up. But these are, this was a key formation. And again, the video will be found on the forum. The video will be found on the forum for this type of setup. Now, there's other setups that are setting up this week. We're going to get into those in a second. Let's take a look at fast some of the stocks that we traded that maybe not. All right, the THC. Let's not forget about the THC. THC was also kind of a coiled up setup, lower trend line. This we called, was a nice double bottom, and the candlestick here really was impressive. You have a big reversal candle. Whenever you have a big shadow like this followed up by a second shadow, that's really a good point. And be it that it was down by this 1, 2, 3 level, you can see all these little pivot areas, and you can really define this channel all the way back here. So it's easy enough to recognize this level, especially the 200. But even better, because this didn't really, you saw this go kind of sideways and stuff, and we kind of popped out of it. Coming back down to it and seeing these candlesticks was really good. So you really hold on to this level, and then it just took off, broke out of the wedge pattern, and pushed right up to this level. And this could even be a possible short. This is what we talked about yesterday. Overbought stochastic, upper trend line. All these, here's another example of a reversal candlestick. We had 2 reversals. This is interesting. My first time actually seeing these 2 candles, but this is something just the opposite of what you're seeing down here. which should be a short setup. And also understanding that you had a high here and a lower high here. You draw that trend line in. As you come down to that trend line, you're going to probably roll over. That's a great indicator to have on your stochastics. Stochastics make wedges. You know, I'm like showing that a great example in the overall markets right now. The overall markets, take a look at that weekly. One of the reasons I was so bullish over the last couple of weeks is because of this upper trend line. This is on a weekly stochastics. The weekly stochastics actually turned back up. We have two pivot areas, drew that trend line in, and said, watch this. We're probably end up going to hold these levels and bounce back up as this coils up to the upside. The coil stochastics to the upside, the opposite effect of coil stochastics to the downside. The trend is up, the trend is strong, and right now everything looks great. It really does look great going into next week too. I know there's events out there. There's the debt ceiling vote, and there's Congress and stuff like that, and that could play a part in the market. But technically speaking, everything looks good, and we're going to continue just to look for the setups so we, we continue to profit off them. Except nothing less. All right, let's not try to gamble while things are going so good here. So let's take a look at that. So that was a trade that worked out great. Verizon, VZ. That weekly stochastics here, just nice flag on the weekly. Again, this is a little, just coming back, showing you these lower channels on these quality names, and all these stocks here getting a little overbought now. So, I mean, you did have these overbought levels. This one didn't get up to a trend line. It's not a multiple indicator setup, but it did have a little resistance area here, which we ran into. And you can see it pulling back, and it's good to see these things work. That's what you want. You want to see it just play out like it's playing out, and taking profits and having patience and letting everything come to you. And then we got other ones that the Verizons, the Altrias, Coca-Cola. These are all setups that we've taken this week. Just to even go even further, I think I have a picture. Do I have a picture? September. Yeah, I do have a picture. This is really the trades from this week. I tweeted this out. I was very proud of this. This is a lot of the trades, not taking into account the options. The options also, we've been trading the options, but I have no tracker for those right now. But usually the options, we take profits. Options in the stocks usually take the same stocks, the same options in the same stocks that we're looking at. All right, so let's move on. Let's start the official watch list now. Let's start what we got going on for you. These are some good setups. Let's go. Let's take them. Let's roll with them. And this video will stop for people who are not members of Day Trading Radio. But I tell you, definitely check it out. And we're on the air pretty much. I teach these setups each and every day from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock Monday through Friday, and the setups, all the research, the hours and hours and hours get delivered to you as a member, and that's what this next part of the video is. So hope to see you at daytradingradio.com, and good luck.